Smoak.
We have been fortunate because of our relationship with Jeff Traylor to talk UTSA football quite a bit, and of course it's been easy to do so, what he's done there. Frank Harris joined us, I think, about a week or two ago, and he discussed his decision he had to make, and today he made it official that he's coming back for another year to play for the Roadrunners. We're joined by Andy Everett, voice of UTSA Athletics on 365 Sports. Andy with Paul Craig, and I'm David Smoak. Andy, it seemed like this was the obvious answer he was going to give, or at least what he was going to say. What has been the reaction in San Antonio?
I think everybody's thoroughly excited about it. I don't know that anybody had an idea what he was going to do until probably last week. I think the one thing that may have kind of tipped the scales in this direction, back right before the UTEP game, the last game of the season, Brendan Brady spoke to the whole class. Brendan Brady was the starting running back before he got hurt in the UTEP game. And Brendan decided last year not to return and then change his mind right around spring practice, and then came back in the summer and the fall. And he told everybody in the room and the 21 seniors, hey, if you've got eligibility left, come back. You're crazy if you don't. I almost made the wrong decision. I'm glad I came back, and this was a great decision for me. And Frank and Brendan have been great friends since their high school days, even though they played at different high schools. But they've known each other since they were kids. So this is a great decision. I don't know what the details of the NIL deal are. I'm sure it's substantial. They didn't really speak about that today, and nobody even really asked about it. But Frank's going to be a Roadrunner for a 7th season next year.
Andy, especially with the conference move coming up, was this just so key to the continuity so they could hit the ground running when they got there?
Yeah, I think they needed to find out who their quarterback was going to be. And Will Stein, the offensive coordinator, left to go to Oregon, and Will had some potential guys in the transfer portal that may have considered UTSA had the NIL deal been up to the right standard. But he's gone. But I think the most important thing is this is a recruiting week. UTSA is trying to get ready for a bowl game while at the same time trying to get everybody signed by next Wednesday that they want signed. And there's quarterbacks that they were after that would have said yes, or transfers that may have come here if Frank was not coming back. But by solidifying that, now they can turn their attention to other things. Now they need to go out and make sure they have a stable of freshmen or junior college quarterbacks that can play in 24 and beyond to kind of get that line ready for the future, knowing that Frank's going to be the guy for a year. So that helps Jeff Traylor. That helps all the other coaches. That helps the guys that are trying to determine whether they want to come back for an extra year. They're already on the team. So I think this announcement was at the right time, and I'm sure after the bowl game and the conference USA championship game, I think Frank decided, hey, I'm having way too much fun. I can't pass up this for one more year.
Andy, I mean, they had the loss that was nearly a win in the opener against Houston. I mean, they had every opportunity to win that game, and then obviously lost to Texas a couple weeks later, and then after that ran the dang table. And we talked to Coach, and he was mentioning just how beat up, the Roadrunners were by the end of the year, kind of limping to the finish line. But 11-2, CUSA champs. Just what's it like surrounding this program right now?
Well, I think Jeff is the ultimate motivator, and all of this starts with him. He created the triangle of toughness. He gave the players the opportunity to kind of police themselves by making his leaders part of what he calls his leadership council. He got all the players to buy into those leaders. UTSA was down 24-0 in the second quarter to UTEP, and I don't think there was a player. I don't think there was a fan. I know there wasn't a broadcaster that didn't think UTSA could come back. And they scored 2 touchdowns right before the half. It's 24-10. And or 24-14, you're down 10, and you played the worst half you played all year, and you're probably still a little bit, saddened by the fact that 21 seniors had their senior day, and you're playing a team that's trying to get bowl eligible, and you're not all that motivated, and somehow you come back in the second half and outscore them and win the game, and that's just what this team does. Jeff, in Jeff's tenure year here, they are 15-3 in games decided by a touchdown or less. Most of them come back. And in the last 2 years, I believe it's 11-1. And you just don't win that many games. And then you throw in the fact that pretty much every position group had somebody go down at some point this year, except for quarterback. And they probably had 25 guys that either missed games or missed a portion of the season with injuries that were key to that two deep, and they still won.
Andy, when he arrived, and we've known him for a long time from his days in high school football in East Texas and, of course, as an assistant coach elsewhere, we knew his success. We knew his passion. Could you ever have expected the passion and the fan base being what it is now, the way it is now?
Well, not where we were 3 years ago to where we are now is amazing. And especially considering that one of them was a COVID year where most of the meetings before the season happened were all on Zoom and everything was protective. And UTSA only missed one game that year. They had a couple others canceled, but they were able to make games up with other teams that also had cancellations. Then they go through the gamut last year and win every game until the final game of the season against North Texas. And then they had a lot of injuries and COVID during the bowl game, which was part of the reason why they missed out against San Diego State. It's just remarkable. He is such a overlooked coach. I mean, I think UTSA is thrilled that they have him. They're even more thrilled that he and his wife want to stay in San Antonio and did not want to go to Lubbock where they were going to get paid more. But honestly, I think he believes he has a better chance of winning Conference USA and the American Conference. And eventually that American Conference champion is going to get an automatic bid into the group of 12 when they expand the playoffs to 12 teams. So he's going to have a chance almost every year to play in the national championship tournament. Now, you may not beat Alabama and Georgia. That may be a mountain that's too hard to climb, but you never know until you get there, and he's certainly up for that challenge when and if it comes.
On Frank Harris, is there an athlete that is more San Antonio through and through than him?
Not that I can think of, and I think he's already punched his ticket for be a future Hall of Fame member of the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame, and Frank is not an NFL quarterback. He's probably too short. He's probably not fast enough. His hands aren't big enough. He's a good athlete, but he's not a great athlete. He just wins. Now, I think there's room for that at any level. When you can just figure out a way to win with all the deficiencies you have, that's pretty impressive. But the measurables aren't there for the scouts to go, okay, we're going to draft him in the 5th round and see what happens. If he wants to walk on to a team at some point or get a free agent contract, that's down the road and possibly. But I can never see Frank in the NFL just because the NFL scouts don't like players that don't measure if they're measurable. But that doesn't mean he's not one of the greatest college players that's ever played. And I think if he was putting up these numbers in a Power 5 conference, he'd be a Heisman Trophy candidate. Unfortunately, he's playing in Conference USA, and people look down at the competition that you're playing, but his numbers are as good as the 4 guys that are going to New York this weekend.
I agree with you 100%. I'm fortunate to have a vote, and I'm telling you, it was so I can't give my vote out, but someone like that means as much, if not more, to UTSA than anybody else. Even Max Duggan at TCU, Caleb Williams, these guys are all incredible. But Frank Harris almost epitomizes to me in a lot of ways what the Heisman Trophy might be.
Absolutely, and he played well against Texas in a loss. They played well at times against you. They probably played their best game of the year, either the bowl game or the championship game against North Texas or the Houston game. The Houston game, they made a couple of errors with a substitution penalty and a turnover, and then they didn't get the right read on the 2-point conversion to tie it in the third overtime. But they played really well in that game. And, I think I can't see what Frank would have done against Texas Tech and Oklahoma State and OU and Kansas in that schedule had he played them. But I don't know that his numbers would be that much further off. This was a really good offense this year, and they moved the ball for the most part against Houston and Texas, which was probably the 2 best teams they played.
Andy, congratulations to UTSA and our great friend Jeff Traylor, and also Frank Harris, who will get honored in other ways, I'm sure, down the road. We appreciate your time and appreciate the feedback.
You got it. Have a great night.
You too. That's Andy Everett, voice of UTSA. Frank Harris, not a surprise, 7th year. It's part of what we have now in today because of that COVID year.